Hello, y'all. Anthurium Papa back with y'all once again. I know it's been a minute. No excuses except for lost AC, many depression because lost AC and damaged plants. But that's not a big deal. We're not worried about that. We're moving forward because what is my motto? We keep growing forward. So that's what we're doing. We're back in the action. And guess what? I want to do a video, an update video. Yes, an update video on my pest control video. This is Pest Control 102. I'm so excited to share with you. I know you're probably getting like, what's going on? Why do we need an update? Do we not just do the same thing all the time, every day? No, I am constantly experimenting. I'm constantly looking for new ways, better ways, upgrade, because we are trying to be at least 1% better every day. I'm very much about the Kaizen mindset, the Japanese mindset of being 1% better every day. So we try to be 1% better with our pest control. So that's what we did. So today I'm going to show you new techniques that I'm using, new chemicals that I'm using, ways to identify pests as well. These are all good things to have when we are talking about, good things in your arsenal to have when we are talking about pests. Because I noticed from the last pest control video, some people were like, what does pest damage look like? What am I looking for? Blah. So let's go over it one by one. The biggest upgrade I have done to my pest control regimen has been the addition of this crazy looking guy right here. I know, looks like a blaster, right? Alien blaster. We are out blasting aliens, Men in Black style. No. This is an atomizing sprayer. These are normally used to eliminate germs, to cover a large area, but what's cool is they will also spread pesticides. Yes, isn't that cool? It has made my life so much easier. What I can actually do is I can cover a whole front of a leaf very nicely. It atomizes it beautifully, and it just covers it. It just covers that leaf so perfectly front back. I don't get as much mess. As you can see before, I was suggesting a very hard sprayer, and it left a lot of mess. I would have to take things outside, or I would have to put trays underneath. With this, I can simply just mist down the front and back of the leaf. There's very little to no drip. I love it. There's very few things that I have found that will clog this sucker up. What I do tell you is, pro tip with this guy, unplug the bottle, run water through it when you are done. That is going to extend the life very much. I would also maybe keep 2 of these on hand. They charge fairly quickly, but that's just gonna make sure you're not having to remember what plant that I leave off on if the battery dies. So that's pro tip. So this guy, he is in my links as well. So check out my link tree, and you'll see every single thing that I use, including this guy. So check. Editor's note. Please wear a mask when using this atomizer, gloves if you're using anything nasty, even eye protection might be nice as well. We don't want to be breathing this stuff in. Even the natural stuff atomized is not very good to breathe in. Editor's note! Thank you so much. Get back to it. So check it out. Battery operated atomizer makes pest control, spreading the pest control quite easy. Oil-based ones, liquid, it doesn't matter. They work quite well. As long as the powder as well actually dissolves down in, we're good to go. Cool? So give that a try, see how that changes your pest control regimen, and let me know. Get back to me. Let me know in the comments, okay? All right, moving on. So in addition to new hardware, we're updating new chemicals as well. I have got one chemical in particular that I have been loving on, that I have been adding with darn near every watering. This is the SN209. This is a really nice systemic pest control. It makes your whole tent and your whole house smell like an Italian restaurant, which, you know, I have no qualms with. So SN209, this is super easy to use. You just run this through with every watering. It has a wonderful rosemary scent to it. It gives you the breakdown, how much you should use. Follow the instructions. I found that is the best concentration to use with it. But like I said, I use it darn near every watering. So that way I am making sure that the plant itself is uptaking that lovely rosemary flavor that bugs just absolutely hate. The bug is gonna go, num and be like, I don't prefer this. And then they move on, and hopefully they starve and die. fingers crossed, right? This is in addition to my normal pest control, so I'm still keeping my leaves clean. I'm still, you know, bi-weekly, tri-weekly going in there, rinsing down the leaves with the soap and alcohol mixture that we talked about in the first video. So a lot of my mixtures have still stayed the same. We are just doing the addition of SN209, which has been a game changer for spider mites. As you know, when we're using things like the bonide granules, it's very important that we have some kind of counteractor. SN209 has been a great counteractor. In addition to another great counteractor, as I've been using the neem oil that I suggested on the last one, the Captain Jack neem oil. I've been using that directly on the soil. I know before I was like, do not hit the leaves. I still do not hit the leaves. I treat the soil and I let that kind of leak down into the soil, at least drench the soil, so I see at least an inch of penetration into the top of that soil. Then I know at least the area that those spider mites are laying their eggs is going to be nicely treated. So that's going to be the counteractor to my bonide. That's going to make sure that it won't proliferate those spider mites, but I'm going to be making sure my thrips are taken out. Good? Excellent, excellent. So that is the addition for that guy. An addition more is a sulfur treatment. Sulfur is a great additive. It is a great pest control. It is a great antibacterial. You'll see it mostly as an antibacterial, antifungal. This is great for your plants to run through the soil. But there are some that are a little more concentrated, like 7. That is a powder one. That is a little more attainable, but it is water soluble as well. A lot of my Hoya heads know exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about that particular product. In addition to, it's a little harder to get, but I'm going to start offering little small bottles after this live, after this YouTube videos. I'm going to start offering small bottles of what's called Sulfur, S-U-F-F-A. It is a super concentrated sulfur that is specifically for taking out bugs. What I found sulfur most effective at treating is flat mites. What I've done a lot of looking into is the life cycle and where the life cycle of our particular pest are taken. So with spider mites, as I said, life cycle is going to be in the soil, and they're going to find their way up. Supposedly with thrips, life cycle starts in the soil and goes way up to the leaves. I have a feeling that they also lay eggs in the leaves. That's just purely off observation, but I treat both regardless. With flat mites, they are mostly only in the leaf. So they make it a little hard. I'm talking like in the leaf. So it makes it a little harder. You need something that actually stays on that leaf. So that is why I like sulfur. Sulfur will create this nice little thin film over that washes off easily. I usually do my sulfur treatment, keep it on for 2 to 3 days, and then I'll rinse it right off with my distilled or RO water. It comes right off. It's so easy, but it makes sure that those flat mites are absolutely taken out. Now, that one is super effective. I love it. Now let's talk about what flat mites look like, what spider mites look like, what our different pests look like. So we'll go over the first one since we're talking about it, flat mites. Flat mites are going to appear as a bunch of small dots. It just looks like a peppering of small dots, even more so than the spider mites. You're going to notice a life cycle difference with these guys. Yes, the flat mites will hit an emergent leaf. It's not as readily that they hit a emergent leaf, but they will. What you'll find that they mostly hit is a hardened off leaf. So the flat mites really love a good hardened off leaf. You'll notice little speckles throughout. You're gonna be like, what? It looks like you spilled some kind of like pepper, or not pepper, like salt across the top. It just like little white speckles, and they get more, and before you know it, like, oh my gosh, this leaf is absolutely covered in speckles. As you can see, I have my individual reference here. Check it out and let me know if you're seeing this on your leaves. If you do, we've got to get you treating. But you can see the small, little, teeny tiny pebbling marks. They're teeny tiny and mostly on the mature leaf, so that's why they're even smaller. Now, let's pivot over to spider mites. Spider mites are going to typically attack when the leaf is much smaller. Not always. They'll attack when that leaf is older, but mostly they love attacking a fresh emergent. So you're gonna find that a lot of their marks and stuff are done on a small leaf that expands, and it makes those small turn into massive, massive chunks, massive divots. And those you're gonna notice very, very readily as that leaf gets bigger. What happens many times is people will maybe treat in between, rinse the leaf out down in between, the leaf expands, you get all these divots, they reach out to me and they go, hey, what is all this? I don't see any pests on here, but I see, is this like, what's it doing? It's like, that is spider mite damage done when the leaf was very small. Most likely you've treated or knocked them out, or they've moved on to another emergent leaf. And that is why you're dealing with the large marks and not the small ones. So we have already a differentiator. The flat mites are gonna be a very small on mostly mature leaves. The spider mites are gonna be on small leaves, and it's gonna be big damage. It's gonna look like it's huge damage, but it was done when it was a teeny tiny little leaf. So that's the difference. We need to differentiate those. Additionally, thrips. Thrips are a tough one. I didn't say with spider mites as well. You're gonna see spider webs. Usually when you see the spider webs, it is a pretty advanced situation. I would go ahead and treat that plant pretty heavily. So next into the thrips. Thrips are going to appear at first as little white larvae, and they are little like wormy almost looking larvae, and they move kind of weird under the microscope. They twist their little bodies. They're so weird. And then once they're mature, they're little black guys that are very thin, and they look like little thin little guys. They're not your typical like round little red spider mites. No, they're little thin guys. And their damage, they're kind of the in-betweeners. They'll do damage from the beginning to the end. They'll cause very aggressive damage. It looks a lot like spider mite damage. They're a little harder to get rid of because they do tend to lay their eggs into the soil and into the little crevices. I found that if you do not treat the crevices, as I said in my first video, you have to treat those crevices, the little butt cracks in there, the little cracks, because it makes sure that chemical gets down in there, so that way it takes those eggs out, takes those adults out, so you're not dealing with those guys. So thrips looks a lot like spider mites. Luckily, the pest control that I teach you, the in soil neem oil, and then your bonide granules, and then a washing will treat both of those spider mites and thrips at the same time, luckily. So it's kind of a dual prong attack when you're treating for those guys, because remember, you don't want to just use bonide granules and then activate your full-on attack of spider mites. So in review of 102, we added an additional weapon to the arsenal to make our life a little easier. We introduced a new chemical to make our lives a little easier. We're introducing new techniques like adding neem oil to combat the spider mites in our soil. This is all good things that we upgraded to. Y'all, if you have any questions, any concerns about how I use anything, feel free to reach out. Remember that I do have a 101 video. This is 102. We are constantly moving forward. I will have a soil 102 video coming up very soon. I'm so excited to release that one because I have some great breakthroughs. Again, we don't just keep doing the same thing. We keep it fresh, we keep moving forward, and we keep messing around and finding out. You know that's not the full, but we can't say that on YouTube. We got to keep it clean. Messing around and finding out, so that way we can find better ways of growing things. That is how I got here. That is how I was able to grow these babies in ambient, because I messed around and I found out, I experimented. Y'all cool with that? Please, please, please let me know what experiments you got going on. Let me know of your joys. Let me know of your successes. Let me know of your failures. We want to help you grow forward. Please do not keep it to yourself. Please do not think that you are failing by yourself. No, no, no. Reach out. This community is amazing. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me here, of course. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on Palm Street. Follow me on Whatnot. Oh my gosh, I am everywhere. And of course, I've got a website, anthuriumpapa.com. Of course, I've got a link tree that shows you all my products linked down in the description below. Oh, we're just everywhere. If you want to buy some of my babies using these beautiful mamas behind me, including this whole room that I'm absolutely surrounded in, using those same mamas, please join me on Palm Street every Thursdays and Sundays. Please join me Fridays on Whatnot, where I'll be selling vintage t-shirts and plants as well. Double whammy. I know we're breaking new grounds. We're trying to do something fun, trying to do something different. So if that sounds like your kind of spiel, if you like to learn, buy plants, maybe get some vintage swag, hit me up. Cool, cool, cool. Love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for being here. Love y'all so much. If you guys have any questions, concerns, feel free to reach out. But most importantly, as we always know, you should keep growing forward. Bye, guys.